So this is the Smith Machine Tool Pro-P-MS14101-4 kit, and this would be a standard Pro kit that you could buy for portable swedging on our website. So in this kit, you will get custom foam inlays, and you'll have the Futek IHH 500, the load cell that corresponds to the bearing size that we're proof loading, power adapters for international customers, and the power cord. And in the bottom side, you'll have your swedging tool, your cutting tool, your wrench for the cutting tool, and your portable insulation proof load and removal tool. All right, so we have a sample MS14101-4 bearing that's been swedged into the housing that we'll just quickly demonstrate the tools on. So this is the portable swedging tool. You can find a full video on how to use this tool on our website and how to perform portable swedging. But just to quickly show how this specific tool works, so you can take it apart by removing the backside draw side. This is just a Teflon bushing to prevent damage to the teeth during transport. So you would take this side of the tool, you would insert it into your bearing, and then you would add on the draw side, and then you would finger tight the draw side, engaging the thread and ensuring not to cross thread, and then you can apply tension to the backside and begin the rolling, and then apply a few degrees of draw each time, and then add about 4 rotations of rolling on the roll side. You can find a full video on how to use this tool on our YouTube channel as well. So that's the this is the Smith Machine Tool P-RST-0.594-312-MS14101-4. You can search our website for just the MS bearing that you're looking for. So we'll put this tool away, and then you have your cutting tool. So the cutting tool is used to cut out a previously swedged bearing, if it had damage or if it's part of a PM or a repair for a part. So we'll just take apart this tool, and I'll quickly show you how to use this tool. Again, there's a video on how to use all of our cutting tools on our website. So I insert the rod through the bearing bore, and then the anvil on the backside, and then the nut for the backside. And then you would use a wrench to hold the flats, and then another wrench to go ahead and tighten the backside to align the bearing bore. And now you've created an axis on which the cutter can ride. So we add on our cutter, and then our nut onto the backside of the cutter. And then you apply a few degrees of rotation to that nut against the spring, and that will apply force so that we can start cutting the lip of that bearing. So we'll take that apart, and once you've cut to the bottom of the V-groove, then you have enough cut into that bearing to then go ahead and push it up. So we'll take that apart, put this away. Teflon spacer just for protection of the cutting teeth. Cutter head back on. We do offer regrind service on all of our cutter heads, and we offer spare parts for anything on our tools. So if a cutter wears down, you can send it back and we'll regrind it, and we'll recoat it and send it back to you for as many times as we can get out life of the teeth, and we can offer spare parts on anything that wears out as well. We have a wrench that's used for the cutting tool that we provide. And then the last tool is the Smith Machine Tool Portable Insulation Proof Load and Removal Tool. So we'll demonstrate first a removal of a cut bearing. So if you have a bearing that's been cut or hasn't been swedged yet, you can go ahead and use our tool to remove it. So you would assemble this on to your bearing. The cut lip would be on the side that we are pushing on. So this side would be uncut, this side would be cut here. And then you'll add on your flat pushing pin, and then your nut. And you can apply rotation to this nut and draw the bearing out into the removal cut. So you can use that to push out a bearing. Okay. And then once you push out the bearing, you would need to then install a new one. So you'll use our insulation base with a guide bushing. The guide bushing is used to just align the bore of the housing and the center line axis of this rod. So you can draw in a new bearing. So you would have a bearing on this side and then your insulation pin, and you would add on your nut, and you can start to draw your bearing into the hole. And once it's about halfway or it reaches and touches the guide bushing, you would disassemble the whole tool, remove the guide bushing, put this back on, and now you have a flat face on which to push the bearing up against. Add on your pushing pin and go ahead and start pushing that bearing all the way up against the flat face until it's centered in your housing. And then the last feature of this tool is the proof load portion. So to proof load this bearing, you'll go ahead and take out your 1K load cell for this 101-4 bearing. We'll open up the caps on the top of the IHH 500 and go ahead and plug in your Futek load cell. Once it's plugged in, you can go ahead and power it on. It'll go through a boot sequence. Once it's booted, you can tear it out and then go ahead and assemble your tool. So there's a Teflon bushing that we use for the -4 bearing with this load cell. So that Teflon bushing will go onto the rod, push that all the way on. It might take a little bit of force. The Teflon can be tied up against the threads. Go ahead and push that Teflon bushing on. The load cell has an ID loading side, which will go against the black oxide washer, and then an OD loading side, which will go up against the flat side of our proof load and removal cup. So once we have it assembled like that, we can go ahead and put this onto our housing that has a swedge lip on either side to perform the proof load test. The kit comes with the angled pin for the MS14101-4 bearing that will go up against the side that you will be testing the swedge against. For the V-groove, you'll add on your nut, you'll snug it by hand, you'll tear out your load cell once again, you'll apply the load up until whatever load is required, and then you can check the distance of travel of that bearing before and after the proof load test. Again, we have a full video on how to use the Smith Machine Tool PIPR, or Insulation Proof Load Removal tool, to see how to do the proof load portion of this kit.